What you got, man?
From jumping a car between skyscrapers to characters coming back from the dead. When did the Fast and Furious franchise get so darn ridiculous? I mean, the Fast and Furious movies are pretty well known for how crazy they can get, but there is one moment that changed the series into something, well, let's say ridiculous.
Hey, you got special plans, huh? Big day? Gonna invite us all out? Better make sure you get her a big rock, man, because she don't look like she'll be that easily impressed.
In the first part of the movie, the story of the Fast saga started in a simple way, but ever since then, the series has changed quite a lot. One way that it does that is by slowly moving away from its roots in street racing, but what has taken its place is an even bigger change. See, ever since Fast 5 came out in 2011, the Furious movies have shown the main characters doing more and more impossible things, especially Vin Diesel's character Dominic Toretto, and in 2021's Fast 9, Dom swung a car on a bridge rope from one side of a cliff to the other. Meanwhile, Tej, played by Ludacris, and Roman, played by Tyrese Gibson, went to freaking space. So, the Fast and Furious movies have clearly changed over the years. But when Dom saves Letty Ortiz, played by Michelle Rodriguez, in Fast and Furious 6, the series went from being impossible to just being silly. I mean, during the highway chase, Luke Evans' character Owen Shaw's tank stops suddenly, sending Letty flying into the air. Then Dom saves Letty by crashing his car into the fence on the parallel bridge, sending himself flying to catch her. Now, the heroics of Dom and Letty falling safely on the hood of another car is great and all, but it seems more like something from a Marvel movie than one about fast-paced car races. You get me? And it also kind of set up what would happen next in the Fast saga, with Dom leading the way. Let me tell you another instance. So, in the big highway chase in Fast 6, Dom saves Letty in a way that has almost nothing to do with physics. Even if Dom's plan to shoot himself into the air had been exactly aimed and timed so that he could catch Letty, it's unlikely that either of them would have survived that collision at that speed. Still, when reality and logic was thrown out the window, that was the exact moment when the series became known for being so crazy. After that, Furious 7 had action scenes like Dom jumping a car from one Abu Dhabi building to another, and from then on, it just got crazier and crazier. Now, given how much this series has changed, it's better to think of the Fast saga as comic books. When you think about how the Fast movies went from being about street racing to being about superheroes, Dom's rescue of Letty from the air in Fast 6 may have given the series the courage to keep going that way. Fast 5 is the movie that changed the Fast saga into what it is today, but Fast 6 was the first time that action heroics that were laughably impossible were turned into art. The thing is, the Fast saga success has gone up as its link to reality has gone down, so the series has technically no reason to be upset about how it's changed. In Fast 6, when Dominic Toretto used his knowledge of cars to save Letty, it was the first real step away from science and logic in the Fast saga, and it basically set the tone for the rest of the movies. As of right now, there's 9 movies in the franchise, with a 10th one on its way. But hang on, there's definitely more coming in the next couple of years. See, at this point, there isn't enough to the series to make it worth making more titles. The idea of fast cars, illegal street races, and detailed scenes of how cars are made is appealing, sure. But as time went on, the magic started to fade. To put it simply, the movies were at their best around the time of Tokyo Drift.
Can't you go find a nice Japanese girl like the rest of the white guys around here?
Why'd you let me race with your car? You knew I was gonna wreck it.
Oh god, that movie really took everyone on a thrilling ride. But see, the movies were about family relationships and fast cars, and the series was built around street racing. The early movies were over the top, but they had a lot of heart and cool factor, you know? As time went on and the movies started to focus less on illegal racing and more on murder vengeance stories or government operations, they lost the charm of where they came from. Some of the stories seemed to cover the same ground, and even the big budget action scenes can't make up for a lack of content. Plus, in the same way that there are too many stories, there are now too many people to remember. See, favorites like Dominic and Mia Toretto, Letty Ortiz, and Tej Parker were the OG gang. But as time goes on, each new movie seems to add more characters, all of whom are quickly seen as bad for the series. This isn't always a bad thing, but when the audience has to pay attention to the whole company, the movies lose emotional weight, especially since there's such a massive emphasis on family. Even with A-list stars like Vin Diesel, Dwayne Johnson, Jason Statham, John Cena, and Charlize Theron, it's hard for any one character to stand out. And there comes another problem, which is that some characters seem to die and then come back to life. Letty, Dom's girlfriend, was said to have died in the 4th movie, but she came back in the 6th movie after escaping an attempt on her life. I mean, how does that even work? Han Lu, a team member, is said to have died in a crash in Tokyo Drift. You know, the whole Fast 7 being connected to Tokyo thing, but he was revealed to be still living in Fast 9. So when people can die and come back to life at will, their efforts and deaths don't mean as much, and their fan base kinda dies down. Then there are also spin-offs that, if done well, can be great. They basically give different characters a chance to tell their own stories, and they let fans stay in their favorite imaginary worlds for a little longer. But that's what was wrong here. Too many spin-offs have been made for the Fast series for fans to keep up with, and not all of them are good for the brand as a whole. To begin with, the Hobbs and Shaw spin-off is getting a second. There are also reports that an all-women spin-off is being considered, and in the mid-2000s, 2 short films came out. Plus, in the cartoon show Fast and Furious Spy Racers, the government hired a group of kids to take down whole crime groups. All these new people and bits of history have made it hard to keep up with the whole series. I get that the people who made the Fast movies want to reach new audiences, but the spin-offs have the same problem as the main film series. They don't have much to say. And about the secret race scene, you can only tell so many stories. The movies surely took a hard turn into spying and crime empires to explain big action scenes in larger-than-life cars, but this isn't enough to make up for boring stories and used tropes. The problem with spin-offs is that the movies don't always make sense. Some cars in movies have fake engines, strange NOS physics, and more secret switches than you can count. It kinda seems like the people who made the cars wanted them to look cool and futuristic, but anyone who knows about cars can obviously tell that they aren't real. And Dom's 1970 Charger is especially famous for having a big engine with a fake blower just for looks. Plus, in the initial movies, it was clear that the crew stole cars illegally and had a lot of racing and mechanics experience. But to hire them to stop cyber terrorists and dangerous mercenaries? I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't even make any sense, especially since the group is known for doing bad things. Either way, the Fast and Furious franchise really needs to bring in something new and mind-blowing, or else they won't have any viewership real soon. Will they be able to make a comeback? Only time will tell. Until then, that was all for when the Fast and Furious franchise became so ridiculous. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
What else do you know about me?
About you?